Welcome to Eagle Discovery. Today, we're diving into one of the most unexpected and jaw-dropping stories of the war. 10,000 North Korean troops joining Ukraine to take revenge on their own leader. Stick around because this is a game-changer you don't want to miss. Captured Russian soldiers reveal a shocking truth. Something incredible is happening on the battlefield. Captured Russian soldiers have made jaw-dropping confessions that are shaking the world. According to them, North Korean troops stationed in Kursk have started acting on their own, ignoring Russian commands and even shooting down Russian drones. But that's not all. Some North Korean soldiers are reportedly sacrificing themselves rather than falling into enemy hands. This revelation has sent shockwaves through military and political circles. Why would North Korean troops, originally deployed to support Russia, suddenly turn against them? Could it be an act of defiance against Kim Jong-un himself? Or is there a deeper strategy at play? Putin's war takes an unexpected turn. As the war rages on, Vladimir Putin refuses to back down. Despite facing severe losses and mounting global pressure, he seems determined to push forward. But these new developments might just be the biggest blow to his war strategy yet. Think about it. If North Korean soldiers, once considered allies, are now turning on Russia, what does that mean for the future of this war? Could this signal a major shift in global alliances? And more importantly, how will Kim Jong-un react when he realizes that his own troops are no longer loyal to him? A humiliation on the world stage. The confessions of captured Russian soldiers have exposed a hidden crisis that Putin never wanted the world to see. His strategy of relying on foreign troops is now backfiring in the most unexpected way. Not only has this revelation embarrassed Russia on the world stage, but it also raises serious questions about the control and loyalty of allied forces. The truth is out. North Korean soldiers are not just passive participants in this war. They are making their own decisions, and those decisions could change the entire course of the conflict. The beginning of the war. On February 24, 2022, Russian President Vladimir Putin gave the order to invade Ukraine. Russian forces launched their attack from multiple fronts, sweeping across Ukrainian territory with surprising speed. In those early months, Putin was confident. He believed Russia could achieve a swift and decisive victory. But he was wrong. As time passed, the Ukrainian resistance proved to be far stronger than anyone had anticipated. The Russian army, which seemed unstoppable at first, found itself bogged down by relentless Ukrainian counterattacks. Cities that Putin expected to fall in days held strong for months. And then came a game-changer: massive military aid from the United States and Western allies. This unexpected level of support turned the tide of the war. The Kremlin, once assured of an easy conquest, now found itself in full-blown panic. Ukrainian forces were not only holding their ground, but pushing back with strategic precision. Putin's desperate search for reinforcements. As the war dragged on and Russian losses mounted, Putin was forced to seek outside help. His first call for reinforcements was answered by Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov, who sent his infamous fighters to Ukraine. But even they struggled against the fierce Ukrainian defense. Then came Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of the Wagner Group, a ruthless private military force known for its brutal tactics. Wagner mercenaries were deployed to the front lines, hoping to turn the tide in Russia's favor. Yet despite their reputation, even they could not secure the quick victory Putin had hoped for. With his original strategy failing and his forces stretched thin, Putin's desperation grew. He needed more allies, more soldiers, and more weapons. But was it already too late? The world watched as Russia, a military superpower, struggled to defeat a nation it had underestimated. What started as a lightning-fast invasion turned into a drawn-out conflict, one that would reshape global politics and military strategy forever. Recruitment of soldiers and frontline struggles. As the war dragged on, the Russian military faced a critical problem: massive troop losses. In a desperate move, Vladimir Putin declared a partial mobilization, drafting over 300,000 Russian citizens and sending them straight to the battlefield in Ukraine. But even with these reinforcements, the numbers weren't enough. With recruitment failing to keep pace with battlefield losses, the Kremlin resorted to extreme measures. Russian prisons were emptied, and thousands of convicted criminals were offered freedom in exchange for fighting on the front lines. These men, many with no formal military training, were thrown into the chaos of war with little preparation. Untrained and unprepared, a deadly gamble. Military analysts were quick to point out the flaws in Russia's strategy. Many of these newly recruited soldiers had never seen combat before. They lacked proper training, discipline, and equipment. And as expected, their survival rate was shockingly low. Reports emerged of entire units being wiped out within days of deployment. But the most unexpected development came from within Russia's own ranks. Captured Russian soldiers have begun revealing a troubling truth. Putin's desperate search for manpower didn't stop at his own borders. The North Korean connection, an alliance gone wrong. According to confessions from Russian POWs, a secret agreement was struck between Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Under this deal, over 10,000 North Korean soldiers were sent to the Kursk region to support Russian forces. At first, this seemed like a major boost for Putin, an influx of highly disciplined and battle-hardened troops. But things did not go as planned. Instead of strengthening the Russian war effort, these North Korean soldiers reportedly caused more problems than they solved. Russian troops now admit that their supposed allies were unpredictable and, in some cases, even hostile. Some sources claim that North Korean units operated independently, ignoring Russian command structures, while others suggest they actively disrupted Russian military operations. A growing crisis for Putin. What was meant to be a show of unity between Russia and North Korea has turned into an embarrassing disaster. Putin's plan to bolster his army with foreign troops has backfired spectacularly. And now, with these revelations coming to light, serious questions are being raised. Did North Korean troops turn against Russia intentionally? Was Kim Jong-un truly committed to supporting Putin? Or did he have his own agenda? How much control does Russia actually have over its own allies? One thing is clear: Putin's war is spiraling further out of control. His desperate recruitment efforts have only led to more chaos, and now even his so-called allies are becoming liabilities. Conflicts between Russian and North Korean soldiers. A new chapter of chaos is unfolding on the battlefield. Recently, Ukrainian forces captured Russian soldiers who had been fighting alongside North Koreans in Ukraine. After years of brutal combat in the Kursk region, these captured troops have made shocking confessions, and what they revealed has left military analysts stunned. According to the captured Russian soldiers, fighting alongside North Korean troops was not just difficult, it was a disaster. They described the North Korean fighters as completely insane and admitted that clashes between the two groups were frequent. In some cases, Russian troops were even caught in the crossfire, suffering heavy casualties at the hands of their supposed allies. What remains unclear is whether the North Koreans were intentionally attacking Russian soldiers, or if these deadly incidents were the result of poor coordination and confusion on the battlefield. Either way, the outcome was the same: chaos, distrust, and rising tensions between the two forces. Official denials versus brutal reality. Despite mounting evidence, North Korea has repeatedly denied any involvement in the conflict. The North Korean ambassador to Spain, Alejandro Day, previously stated that there were no North Korean troops in Kursk. However, Ukrainian military reports tell a very different story. According to Ukrainian sources, over 4,000 North Korean soldiers have been killed or wounded in recent operations. And now, The Ukrainian army has confirmed that they have even captured North Korean prisoners of war. The testimonies of these captives reveal something even more disturbing. North Korean forces were operating independently, ignoring Russian command structures and making their own battlefield decisions. North Korean troops operating without orders? Captured Russian soldiers have confirmed that North Koreans were using tactics and strategies of their own, completely separate from the Russian military command. One of the most alarming reports states that while Russian forces rarely deploy drones in Kursk without direct orders, North Korean soldiers launched drones on their own, without informing anyone. This reckless behavior created further chaos on the battlefield, leading to more losses for Russian troops and a growing rift between the two supposed allies. A crisis Putin didn't see coming. What was meant to be a strategic alliance between Russia and North Korea has turned into an absolute disaster. The very soldiers Putin hoped would strengthen his army have instead become a liability, adding more confusion, more casualties, and more tension to an already crumbling war effort. Now, the big question remains: are the North Korean troops truly out of control, or is there a hidden agenda at play? Did Kim Jong-un send these forces to support Russia, or was this move meant to create more instability? And with North Korean soldiers now being captured, how much longer can Putin keep this alliance a secret? One thing is clear: Russia's war is spiraling into deeper chaos with every passing day. The once solid partnership between Russia and North Korea is now hanging by a thread, and the consequences could be far more explosive than anyone imagined. Coordination issues and friendly fire incidents. The battlefield in Ukraine is descending into absolute chaos, and now even Russia's own allies are turning against each other. According to a captured Russian soldier, fighting alongside North Korean troops is a nightmare. He described them as inhuman and cruel, claiming that they operate with extreme brutality, far beyond anything Russian forces expected. But that's not the only problem. The same soldier also revealed that North Korean troops consume twice as much food as Russian soldiers, creating tension over scarce supplies. To make matters worse, they have even forced Russian troops at gunpoint to carry their ammunition, treating them like expendable labor rather than allies. More North Korean troops on the way? South Korean military intelligence has issued a chilling warning. North Korea may be preparing to send even more troops to Russia. This news has set off alarms, not just in Ukraine, but among Russia's own forces. If just one deployment of North Korean soldiers is already causing disorder, what happens if thousands more arrive? Would Russia even be able to control them? The situation took an even darker turn when reports surfaced that North Korean troops had opened fire on Chechen soldiers who were supposed to be fighting on the same side as them. According to Ukrainian intelligence, at least 8 Chechen soldiers were killed in a so-called friendly fire incident caused by North Korean troops. Whether this was a mistake or an intentional attack remains unclear, but one thing is certain: Putin's coalition of forces is falling apart. Putin's nightmare: allies becoming enemies. Russian troops fear their own supposed allies. Chechen forces are being attacked by North Korean soldiers. More North Korean reinforcements could be arriving soon. This war was already difficult for Russia, but now it's turning into a disaster of infighting, confusion, and betrayal. Putin wanted extra manpower, but instead, he got an uncontrollable force that might do more harm than good. With battlefield alliances collapsing and tensions rising between foreign forces, how much longer can the Kremlin hold its army together? Will this internal chaos be the final blow to Putin's war effort? The war between Russia and Ukraine is only getting more intense. Putin refuses to back down, even as his army fractures from within. With questionable allies like North Korea causing chaos, Russia's war machine is spinning out of control. Meanwhile, the world watches closely. What will happen next? Will Putin regain control, or will his desperate moves lead to his downfall? Stay tuned for more exclusive updates and shocking revelations from behind the front lines. The truth is just getting started.